Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are boosting your immunity and lifting your mood. Remember that your state of mind, how positive or how negative you're feeling, has a direct impact on how your body reacts to a perceived threat. Think of today's class as echinacea for your body, but more importantly, your mind. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify if you need to, feel comfortable to use props for a little bit of an assist where you need to, and make your way into child pose at any time during the class should you need a timeout. You ready to play? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class standing more or less in the middle of your mat. Find a comfortable samasthiti with your feet hip width distance apart or even a little bit wider if you need to. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in and drop the arms long and lengthened at your side. Start giving me big sweeping back strokes, tracing a big circular pattern in one direction. If you find that you have limited mobility in the shoulders, you might want to place the fingertips on the shoulders and maybe just use the elbows to trace small little circular patterns moving backwards on your first set of strokes. Then change the direction halfway and give me a full stroke. Big sweeping motions. If you're using your full arm, keep your belly button firmly pulled in and the tummy pulled into center. Give me two more. Then you're going to end for me with your fingertips on your crown. Take a big breath in and give me a sweeping back bend, opening up the arms as if you were celebrating a new day. Exhale to come back to your start position and tap your fingertips to your forehead or your crown. You're going to repeat that gentle back bend, inhaling as you gently arc through the back, getting a beautiful stretch into the lower belly, and then gently exhaling to come back. As you take it into that gentle back bend, I want you to softly begin drawing up along the inner thighs and pulling up really strongly from your pubic bone towards your belly button line so that you can feel that engagement of your core, of your belly. Feel that strong root through the feet. The last one. As you complete the last one, you're going to gently give me a little shoulder tap as you bend and pivot on the back leg, or you're going to give me half a little helicopter bending and pivoting on the back leg if you're prone to dizziness. Otherwise, you're going to come into a full rotation, giving me 10 little spins. The secret is find a focal point on the wall in front of you when you begin your spin, and every time you complete one revolution, bring your eye back to that point to help center you. If you feel dizzy, come to standing in mountain and bring your hands to a high prayer and look at your thumbnails, nothing else. Give me two more spins, then we'll find our way into mountain. As you complete the last one, give me a mountain with a high prayer. Look at your thumbnails, nothing else. Wait for the room to stop spinning. When you feel reasonably centered, make your way down into a kneeling frame and tuck the toes softly underneath you. Arms long and lengthened, hips stacked over your knees. You're going to gently nod yes. Look over your right shoulder. Look over your left shoulder. Keep looking over the left shoulder and step out into half a camel line on the left, placing your left hand on the inside of the left knee and your right fingertips into the lower back as you take a gentle supported back bend. Then come back to your start position. Nod yes. Look over the left shoulder, the right shoulder, stay there. Step out into your half a camel line on the right. Come back to the midline. Nod yes. Look over the right shoulder, the left shoulder, stay there and find your camel line opening up beautifully through the groin. Come back to the midline. Nod yes. Look over the left shoulder, the right shoulder, and find your camel. Keep looking over that right shoulder. Let's do one more set. Nod yes. Look over the right shoulder, the left shoulder, stay there. Find your half a camel line, Ardha Ustrasana. Come back to the midline. Nod yes. Look over the left shoulder, the right shoulder, stay there and find your half a camel line. Peel back to the center line, sit back on the heels and find your way to a seated frame at the front of the mat with enough room to move behind you. Sit up nice and tall in a modified staff. Try to keep your shoulders stacked over your hips. Softly zipper up along the inner thighs. Pull up strongly from the pelvic floor towards your chest line and float your hands to prayer. Pushing softly into both hands to keep your prayer active. So you want to feel that the arms, chest, upper back and shoulders are all connected to your staff. Then gently fist the hands, drop them alongside your hips, nod your chin to your chest and lift your bum up off the mat for a second. Rinse and repeat. Find your high staff, Dandasana, active through the arms, lengthening through the spine. Drop the arms at your side, fist into the mat, lift your bum up off the mat, resting the weight on the heels of your feet. Come back to your start position. Active through the arms, lengthening through the spine. Drop the arms at your side, nod your chin to your chest, lift your bum. You're going to cycle through those two poses dynamically, looking for length through the spine when you come to staff and giving me a strong contraction through the core to lift your bum up off the mat as you come into that little bum lift. Keep the breath flowing, allow your breath to follow your movement. So experiment with your inhale and exhale, but don't hold the breath, keep it flowing. Let's do one more cycle. Then we're going to ease our way onto the elbows from here. As you complete your last one, gently ease your way onto the elbows and float your legs into a butterfly line. So think soles of the feet together, knees open, maybe just wiggle around for a second and open up gently through the groin. Then float your legs up into a floating butterfly, almost little diamond shape between the legs. Draw the two knees together, softly extend through the legs and then cycle through. Think of mimicking a little frog swimming through the water. Keep pushing softly through the elbows and floating your chest up high towards the ceiling. So don't collapse your frame. You're going to give me 2 more swims. And then we're going to come into a little hold. So you're going to end with the legs long and extended. Almost think fish. Don't collapse through your chest. Float your bosom up to the ceiling and almost try to lighten up off the elbows as if you were floating towards the ceiling. Then gently rotate onto your side, stacking your hips, your knees, and your ankles. Bend the bottom leg and extend the top. Focus on the hand that's connected to the mat. Lift that hand up as if you were waving at somebody and float the top arm up to the ceiling. See if you can come to a balancing position on the bottom knee and then float the top leg up to the ceiling and hold. Give me at least 10 breaths here. Try to give me a long line between the two arms and brace softly into the foot of the extended leg. Then gently make your way back down to the mat. Ease your way back onto the elbows. Find your little frog position. Float the legs up and begin your little swimming motion. Extending softly through the toes as you almost try to tap the wall in front of you. Keeping your core nicely engaged and your chest floating up nice and high to the ceiling. You're going to give me 2 more. Then we're going to rotate onto the other side. So my back will be towards you on this one. You're going, first find your little hold. Brace softly into the feet. Think Matsyasana fish modification. Brace through your feet. Float your chest up to the ceiling and you've got the weight just off your tailbone. Then softly float onto your side. Stack your body first, bend the bottom leg, extend the top. Think of the elbow that's connected to the floor. Bring those fingertips up towards the ceiling and then float the other arm up to the ceiling as well. Then see if you can lift your hips up off the mat, either staying there or lifting the top leg up, giving me a nice brace into the foot and hold that position for at least 10 soft breath cycles. trying to balance on that bottom elbow. If keeping that hand looking up is too much for you, connect the whole hand to the mat, palm down. Gently ease your way onto the elbows again and find your way onto the back. We're coming into a bridge line and we're going to play it up. So you're going to bend the knees and connect the soles of the feet to the mat. Feet not too far away, so scooch the heels up closer towards your bum. Begin in neutral spine with the arms long and lengthened at your side. Take an inhale to prepare, and on the exhale, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position and start peeling up one vertebra at a time, disconnecting your bum from the mat and coming up nice and high on the shoulder blades. Pause there, making sure you activating the front and the back chain of the legs. Then soften through the front and the back chain and gently ease your way down with control through the spine, control through the core to reconnect yourself to the mat. As soon as you've reconnected to the mat, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to peel your weight up off the shoulders and draw one leg into a tabletop position with your arms long and lengthened and hovering off the mat, giving me an almost scoop position and a nice contraction through the core. Inhale to float back down to the mat. Come back up into your bridge line. Tilt the pelvis. Articulate up one vertebra at a time. Ending up nice and high on the shoulders with your chin tucked softly towards the chest. Both hips piked up nice and high towards the ceiling. Checking that you're not bending your knees in or out. Then softly reconnect to the mat with control. And as soon as you found your way back into neutral spine, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to peel up off the shoulders so your lower back is imprinted, the lower rib cage is heavy into the mat and the weight is just off the shoulders with about 2 fingers of air between the chin and the chest as if you had a grapefruit tucked underneath your chin. Come back down to the mat, peel up into your bridge line. Pause at the apex of your bridge. And then roll back down for me with control, connecting one vertebra at a time. As you reconnect, scoop to peel up into your one-legged table hold, giving me a nice strong contraction through the core. Hold. Float softly back down to the mat and peel back up into your bridge line. Keeping your chin softly tucked towards the chest the whole time that you're rolling up into the bridge line so that you don't inadvertently tweak your neck. Roll back down with control. As soon as you found your way back into neutral spine, tilt the pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to imprint your lower back and peel up, almost as if you wanted to tap that knee towards your nose and hold a really strong contraction in the core. Float back down to the mat. We're going to do 2 more sets, but we're going to double up. Peel up into your bridge line. Coming up nice and high on the shoulder blades. Nodding the chin to the chest. Activating the front and the back chain of the legs. Peel back down with control. And as soon as you've found your way into neutral, tilt the pelvis to 12 o'clock, this time drawing both knees into a tabletop position and holding an even stronger contraction through the core, making your belly button as heavy as you can to the mat. Softly peel back down with control and come back into your last bridge line. As you peel back down to the mat, you're going to double up on your knees again. You're going to scoop to draw both legs up into tabletop, holding that strong contraction through the core and floating those arms softly alongside the body. Then from this position, you're going to brace your hands softly on your shins and rock up into a seated frame. You're going to rinse and repeat, rounding out your spine, keeping that soft grip on your shins and allowing momentum to carry you as far back as your shoulder blades before whisper softly, connecting your feet to the mat and feeling that little electric zipper up of the inner thighs and that pull up through the pubis as you lengthen. You're going to give me 2 more like this, and then we'll use our momentum on the last one to push up into the standing frame. Bending and extending through the knees, trying to connect your hands as best you can to the mat. So maybe Hands flat on the mat, maybe fingertips on the mat. Maybe you've reached for a block and you're using the block and you're bending and extending softly through the legs. Play with it. See what works for you. Keep trying to open up the back chain of the legs. And then maybe holding your little Uttanasana and rocking the weight gently backwards and forwards between the balls and the heels of your feet, trying to keep your hands connected to the mat if you can, or using your block, or maybe just bracing softly on your thighs or your shins. From here, you're going to ease your way into a down dog frame. Step the feet back, pike your bum up to the ceiling. Check that your hands are more or less shoulder width apart, with your feet more or less hip width distance apart. We're going to play with some dynamic motion. From your down dog, ease your way into a plank line. We played with this one earlier on in the week. Bend the knees and come into a hovering tabletop, and then cycle back to your down dog. Then start oscillating between the three poses in an almost soft wave-like or undulating motion. You can almost think of mimicking a piston as you float between down dog, plank, hovering knee, and a little push back into your original down dog frame. Keep pulling your belly button softly into the center line the whole time that you're playing. You're going to give me 2 more, and then we'll kick it back in child and take a little time out. Drop softly to the knees, float the big toes together, allow the knees to splay out, maybe extending the arms out in front, or if you're feeling the shoulders, you can softly wrap the arms around the body, back of the hands connected to the mat, palms looking up. You could even place your block on the floor in front of you and just lean the weight of your forehead into the block. Take a little time out here. Remember that child pose or balasana is your rest or recovery pose at any time during the class should you need it. If you had the arms wrapped around your body, find your way into an extended child with the arms long and lengthened on your mat, and ease your way into a down dog frame by coming through a loose 4-point kneel, tucking your toes under and floating your bum up to the ceiling. From here, we're going to play with a little sequence on the right. Soften the right knee and kick up the right leg behind you into 3-legged dog. Keep bracing into the heel of both legs and try to keep your shoulders and your hips even on both sides. You're going to give me a little swing through. Think knee to nose and swing that leg through to the inside of the right hand. Drop the back knee to the floor, but keep the back toe tucked under. And as you peel up along the center line, coming into a modified Anyanya Asana, try to interlace the hands behind your back, giving me a little fist and dropping that fist down between your bum cheeks. Interlacing behind the back is not for you. Maybe just float the hands into aeroplane, or think of the camel line that we played with earlier on and just place both sets of hands into your lower back for support. Hold your modified back bend. And then from here, we'll morph into a modified lizard, Uttanasana. Drop your hands on the inside of the right leg and then heel toe that foot out, making space so that you can stack both of your hands comfortably underneath your shoulders. Focus on your front foot. Take it out slightly to 45. Creep the foot slightly forward and knife edge it. Lean the weight forward and take your right palm, putting your right palm on the inside of the right knee, and gently push the right knee away, keeping that back toe tucked under if you can, or relaxing the foot into the mat. Then try to ground the whole front foot to the mat and take the right arm, floating it gently up to the ceiling. Keep the right knee heavy as if you wanted to drop it to the mat behind you, but try to keep your whole foot softly connected to the mat. Stay or play by coming into a bind, taking your middle index finger and thumb, reaching back for the back toe and giving me a little big toe lock, a Padangusthasana lock around the toe of the back leg. Then leaning the weight forward again, trying to keep the whole front foot firmly grounded into the mat as you take it into a little modified tiger stretch, Vyagrasana. From here, we're going to find our way into a modified triangle, Trikonasana. Relax the back leg. Come back to your original start position, bringing that front foot back in. Step up the back leg dropping it to about 45, and place your lead hand on the shin of your extended front leg, trying to open up into a soft triangle line. Try not to lean any weight into the shin. I want you to lengthen through the top arm so that you're holding your weight by drawing up along the inner thighs and pulling up from the pubis. Stay here. You could even use a block on the inside of the leg if you need to. Otherwise, soft palm connected to your shin. Then give me an extended triangle, bringing that top arm over as if you wanted to touch your ear. And then see if you can float the bottom arm up, bringing your hands into Jupiter Mudra by interlacing your fingers, bringing your index fingers together and crossing the thumb. As if you wanted to tap or touch the wall in front of you and really try to grow through the rib cage. Then gently unbind, rotate on the mat, coming into a high lunge, maybe stepping back or wiggling back the back leg as you try to come into a high lunge bind with that back knee off the mat. If this feels unsteady, maybe relax the back knee and foot to the mat for additional support if you need it. From here, we're going to try and come into a modified warrior 3, keeping the hands bound behind your back if you can manage it. Launch off the back leg, and don't be afraid to use the back toes for support for a second if you need to find your way on the mat. Then when you're ready, hinge forward, trying to give me a soft tabletop line on the mat. Trying to keep your shoulders and your hips nice and even to the floor in a tabletop line. Softly step back into your first lunge line with both legs bent and the back knee connected to the mat, toes tucked under. Then ease your weight back, disconnect the front toes from the mat and come into a soft little forward fold, trying to keep the hands bound behind your back, or release the bind and place both hands on the mat if you find that your balance is off today. Then gently unbind, relax the back foot and keep walking your weight back, trying to sit your bum cheeks around the heel of the back leg and sitting up nice and tall. If this feels particularly uncomfortable, maybe reach for a block and tuck the block underneath your bum cheek on the right and sit comfortably on the cushion that your block is supplying for your bum. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, try to fold forward, thinking head to knee, Janu Sirsasana, trying to bind around the foot. If the foot is not accessible for you, you could use that block on the inside of the leg, finding a lean-in position, or you could opt to take a strap or a hand towel and loop it around your foot and use it for extra leverage. Wherever you're playing, try to soften through the spine, make your chest and your belly heavy to that lead thigh. Taking a nice little stretch here. Then gently peel up along the center line and bump your weight into the left bum cheek so that you connect that bum to the mat. Slide the foot out so that you can connect both bum cheeks to the mat and cross the right foot over the left knee. Then gently make a little stop sign with your elbow on the outside of the right knee as you come into a gentle twist, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Make sure that you're not leaning all of your weight into the left bum bone. So both bum bones are equally weighted into the mat. Scooch that bottom left foot out of the way if you need to make space for your bum. Then gently ease your way from here back into child pose. Maybe arms long and extended in front of you. Or maybe softly draping the arms around the body if your shoulders need a little bit of a time up. Play with it. See what works for you. Make sure that the big toes are softly clipped together behind you and the knees softly splayed out with lots of room for comfortable breathing. Ease your way from here into a down dog frame, piking your bum up to the ceiling, settling into your down dog frame, Adho Mukha Svanasana, taking a nice stretch into the front and the back chain of the body. Let's repeat that little sequence on the left. Soften the left leg and kick up the left leg behind you, bracing into the heels of both legs and trying to keep your shoulders and your hips even on both sides. Then think knee to nose, swing that leg through, relax the back knee, but keep the toe tucked under. Peel up along the center line, giving me a modified back bend, and try to interlace the hands, giving me a little fist behind your back, maybe opening up gently through the chest, to maybe peel up and look up to the ceiling as you find your modified Anyanya Asana crescent lunge. Then unbind, drop both hands to the inside of the left leg, and heel toe the foot out to the side so that you've got enough room to comfortably place your hands palms down underneath each shoulder. Take your front foot out to 45, creep it slightly forward, and then knife edge the foot, taking your left palm and gently pushing the left knee away, trying to keep the toe tucked under on the back leg. Then ease up on that push and re-ground the whole front foot to the mat as you gently rotate and float the left arm up to the ceiling. Stay or play. Take your middle index finger and thumb and make a big toe lock for that back foot, leaning the weight softly forward as you come into your modified tiger stretch, getting a nice little bit of a stretch into that quad. Try to soften the glute and the hamstring of that back leg so that you're not tensing into the stretch. Hold. We're going to find our way into our modified triangle from here. As you unbind, reconnect to the floor. Bring the front leg back to your original start position, closer towards the body line, and step up the back leg slightly. Foot in at 45. Place your shin up. Place your palm on the shin of the lead leg. Both legs are long and extended, so there's no bend in the knee, and you're giving me a soft T-frame through the body. Stay or play. Bring that top arm closer towards your ear and keep extending out through the hip and the ribs. Or see if you can float the bottom arm up, finding your way into a modified Jupiter Mudra and reaching with both index fingers for the wall in front of you. Hold. We're going to find our way into a high lunge line from here. Unbind the arms, give me a soft pivot on the mat, tucking the back toe under and maybe wiggling the foot away as you find that strong interlace of the hands behind your back, almost making a little fist and dropping that fist down, trying to keep the back knee off the mat or dropping it to the mat if you need some additional support. We're going to ease our way into a warrior 3 line from here. Launch off the back foot. If you need to, use the toes for support on the back foot. And when you feel comfortable, give me a soft hinge forward, trying to keep the bind behind your back, or maybe just bracing the hands on your hip bones if keeping the bind is proving too challenging for you. Then soften through both legs. Come back into your first lunge line with the back knee connected to the mat and the toes tucked under. Bump your weight back, disconnect the front toes from the mat, and then softly fold forward as if you wanted to tap your nose towards your knee or your shin, giving me a modified Ardha Hanumanasana, little monkey god stretch, great for the hamstring of the lead leg. Then unbind the hands, place them either side of the lead leg, relax the back foot, and try to sit your bum cheeks around that heel, maybe reaching for your block if you need to, and tucking it underneath your bum for a little bit of additional cushion support should you need it. Take a big breath in, and on the exhale, softly fold forward, thinking nose to knee, trying to bind around that foot as best you can. And take a nice little soft stretch here, trying to relax through the lower back, trying to keep that left knee as relaxed as you can. So the knee's going to want to keep popping up to the ceiling. Try and relax it down into the mat. Then gently peel up along the center line. Bump your weight into the right bum bone. So feed that block out if you had it underneath your bum. Slide that bottom foot out from underneath you so that you've got space for both of your bum cheeks, and cross the left leg over the right knee, taking your right elbow, hooking it on the outside of that knee, and coming into a gentle seated spinal twist. Ardha Matsyendrasana, half lord of the fishes. Keep lengthening through your spine, keep the belly button softly pulled into center, and hold that beautiful twist. From here, you're going to find your way back It's a child taking a little time out. Give me at least 5 relaxed breaths here, arms either long and extended or wrapped softly around the body. And then you're going to peel up into the kneeling frame and you're going to find your way into that camel line that we played with right in the beginning of the class. Make sure that your hips start stacking over your knees. Float both sets of fingertips into your lower back and take a gentle supported back bend. Trying to keep that stack of your hips over your knees. Then softly look over your left shoulder as if you were looking for the back edge of the mat. Tuck your toes under and see if you can float the right arm up to the ceiling. Stay here or reach with your left fingertips for the left heel, trying to keep that arch in your back with the hips stacked over your knees. Float both sets of fingertips into your lower back and come back to your starting position. We're going to repeat on the other side. Look over the right shoulder. Reach with the right fingertips for the right heel. Try to keep that arch and float the left arm up to the ceiling. Come back to your start position on the mat, both hands into the lower back. Then nod your chin to your chest, round out through your spine, giving me a little cat stretch, dropping your fingertips to the mat and seeing if you can walk your way back onto the haunches, almost rounding out and pushing the mat softly away with your fingertips. Round out softly through the spine, give your lower back a little bit of a rest. Then creep your way back to your start position and find your camel line once more. Starting with both hands in the lower back, staying here or running through that little sequence with fluidity and reaching for the heel of both feet if you can. Try to keep your hips stacked over your knees. If this feels comfortable, maybe relaxing onto the bridge of your foot, but not drawing the hips back. So trying to keep the hips softly stacking over your knees as best you can with your chin line parallel to the floor, or you can open up to the throat center if you prefer. Softly nod your chin to your chest. Round out softly, connecting your fingertips to the mat. Ease your way onto the haunches if you can. And if you've managed to pull up along those inner thighs and from your lower abs, see if you can float your hands into a prayer-like position, coming up nice and high on the haunches. If this feels good, float your hands into Jupiter Mudra by interlacing your fingers, bringing the index fingers together and crossing the thumbs, and pierce the sky with your index fingers, almost trying to tuck those arms behind your ears. Keep pulling up along the inner thighs and pull up really strongly as if you were pulling a zip from your pubic bone towards your belly button. Then softly reconnect to the mat. We're going to come into Hero Virasana. So you're going to try and float the knees together, and the knees don't need to touch. They just need to be close along the midline of the body, and open up the feet behind you, making sure that you're setting yourself up more or less in the middle of the mat with enough room to play behind you. Trying to sit your bum back between the 2 feet. If this feels uncomfortable, maybe reach for a block and use the block as a little seated cushion underneath your bottom. If this feels good, you're going to walk the hands behind you, fingertips looking in, or you can have the fingertips looking away. Just see what feels most comfortable for you. Trying to open up through your chest center as best you can. We'll come into this one progressively. Open up gently. Then gently creep your way into a child pose, so reverse your leg position. Big toes coming together, knees softly splayed out. This time stack your forearms, resting your forehead on the back of your hands, and maybe gently rocking the weight temple to temple, and try and relieve any tension along your brow. Use it as a mini massage, some spa time on the mat. Then ease your way from here back into your Virasana setup. So allow the knees to come close along the midline of the body. Feet softly splayed out. Come back into your first position, either hands just gently connected to the mat behind you, or bending down onto the elbows, making your way softly onto the forearms. If this feels good, maybe creeping your hands closer towards your foot line, trying to arch more through the back, and maybe softly connecting the crown of your head to the mat behind you. You could even place a block underneath the crown. If you're coming into this expression, make sure that you've got the weight on your crown and not the back of your head. So you're shooting for your Sahasrara chakra, your crown chakra. Think of it as the very pinnacle of the top of your head. Then softly nod your chin to your chest, look down towards your pubis, make your way onto one set of fingertips, then another, creep your way forward and float your way into child pose. Big toes coming together, knees softly stayed out, stack your forearms, and then gently connect your forehead to the forearms and rock. Think temple to temple so that you're rocking right over your brow, side to side, using your knuckles and your hands to massage any pain points along your brow. Ease your way from here back into Virasana one last time. Either hands just on the floor behind you, easing your way onto the forearms, or if you're comfortable here and you've got the range of motion, making your way all the way onto the back, arms either long and lengthened in a Shavasana-like position at your side, or you can bring your hands into Jupiter Mudra and float your Jupiter Mudra overhead, softly relaxing the back of your thumbs to the mat and reaching with your index fingers for the wall behind you. Play where you're comfortable. Don't force your body into a position that it's not comfortable for you. Just see what your body is giving you today and play with what you've been given. Then gently ease your way from here back into child pose, coming up with care, finding your way back into child, stacking your forearms and finding that little massage through your brow as you gently rock the weight side to side. Maybe closing the eyes, taking your focus in and just having a bit of a relax here. Then ease your way from here into a seated frame. We're going to roll down to come onto the spine. Sitting up nice and tall with the legs long and extended in front of you. Maybe giving those knees just a little shake out. If you're feeling any tightness in the joints, float the arms out in front, palms looking in. You're going to give me one roll down to come straight into a bridge. Nod your chin to your chest, round out your spine in C-curve and keep coming down. As soon as you feel your lower back connect to the mat, bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet and drop the arms at your side, setting up your bridge line. Check that your feet and your knees are hip width distance apart. Begin in neutral, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Begin articulating up through the spine, keeping the chin softly dropping towards your chest and trying to come up nice and high. So maybe trying to tuck the two shoulder blades even closer behind your back and really opening up through your chest center. Stay here for a couple of gentle breath cycles and we'll play with 3 progressions. Then gently open up through the shoulders, roll back down. As you reconnect to the mat, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, draw your legs up into table, scoop to peel up and hold your hovering arm position. We played with this one right at the beginning of the class. Ease your way back into bridge. Tilt your pelvis, roll up through your bridge line. This time, as you achieve the apex of your bridge, try to interlace the hands behind your back, dropping your fist to the mat and squeezing those two shoulder blades as close together along the midline of the body as is comfortable for you. Stay or play. Draw your right leg up into table and hold it there, or extend the legs softly up to the ceiling with a soft point to the toes if you want it to pierce the sky. Keep your supportive leg nice and strong, so keep activating. Then bend the knee, find your way back into your bridge line. Unclasp the hands, open up the shoulder blades, and roll down with control. As soon as you find your way back into neutral spine, Tilt the pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to draw up, drawing your legs up to table, hovering the arms alongside the body and holding that scooped frame. Then ease your way back into bridge. As you reach the apex of your bridge, interlace the hands behind your back, squeeze those two shoulder blades and really open up through the chest. Stay or play. Draw the left knee up into table, either keeping it in table or softly extending through that foot and thinking of trying to tap the sky with your toes. Nice and strong through your bridge. Setu Bandha, Eka Pada Setu Bandha, one-legged bridge. All right, reconnect to the mat with control, opening up those shoulders. Scoop to peel up. Draw your legs into table and hold. You're either going to come up into a bridge one more time, and you can play with any variant that you like, or you can try coming up into wheel. If you've never come into the wheel before, this is quite a back bend, and you do need strength through the arms and the legs, so take a look before you try it. From your same bridge setup, you're going to bend the elbows, and you're going to think of trying to connect your palms to the mat underneath you. Try not to allow the elbows to flare out, so try to tuck the elbows in towards the center line and try to bring the fingertips and your palms as close to the shoulder line as you can comfortably manage. Wiggle around, set yourself up in position. When you feel that your hands are firmly grounded into the mat, try to push into the hands and the legs simultaneously and push your hips up towards the ceiling as if you were coming in to a bridge line. Maybe wiggle around, readjust your hands and your feet if you need to, make sure that they're both in parallel, and try to even out the weight balance between the arms and the legs, hiking your hips up nice and high to the ceiling. Holding for maybe 10 soft counts if you can. And then when you're ready to come down, soften through the elbows, connect first the back of your head to the mat and roll down softly with control so that you're not jarring the head. Scoop to peel back up into your resting frame with your arms hovering off the mat and your knees drawn up into tabletop. Then give me one rock to come to a seated frame on the mat and open up your legs into a soft butterfly line. Soles of the feet together, knees softly splayed out. Start with the hands on the mat behind you. Wiggle and open up through the groin. And then take your middle index finger and thumb and give me a big toe lock around each foot. Hugging those heels in as close to your body line as you can. Try and drop the shoulders away from your ears and lengthen through the spine as much as you can. Trying to keep the toe lock on each foot. See if you can extend the right leg out in front of you, almost coming into Janusasana and thinking head to knee. If keeping the toe lock is not for you, you can maybe use a belt or a strap around that foot to modify. Peel your way back into a butterfly line. Drop the shoulders away from your ears, lengthen through your spine. Keep that big toe lock on both sides so you've got a firm grip. And then extend the left leg out in front of you, thinking nose to knee. As you fold forward, trying to keep the big toe lock on both legs, belly button firmly pulled into center. Ease your way back up into your butterfly line. Drop the shoulders away from your ears, keep the toe lock, and lengthen through your spine. Now, try to extend both legs together, bracing into your heels as you push the legs away, connect to your inner thighs, and think a little Paschimottanasana, forward fold, trying to keep the toe lock. If you feel tight, maybe wiggle around side to side until you can settle the weight of your body down into the mat. Hold your forward fold. Keeping the toe lock the whole time that we play. Ease your way back into your butterfly line. Let's do that one more time. Let's run through that sequence. Drop the shoulders away from your ears. Keep hugging the heels in towards your perineum. Big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, slide, embrace that right heel away from you. Thinking nose to knee as you fold forward. Modification of Janu Sirsasana, head to knee. Softly inhale, peel back up into your butterfly, Baddha Konasana. Drop the shoulders away from your ears and lengthen through your spine. Big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, slide that foot away, brace into the heel, and think nose to knee. Try to relax into the stretch, don't tense. Ease your way back into your butterfly line, keeping the big toe locked, dropping the shoulders away from your ears and lengthening through the spine. On an exhale, brace both legs away, dragging the heels along the mat and trying to relax into the forward fold. Keep belly to spine. You're going to give me at least 5 more relaxed breaths here, and then we'll come into a modification of cow face, Gomukhasana. So gently peel up along the center line, bend the knees and connect the soles of your feet to the mat. Then reach underneath the left leg for your right shin. Draw the right leg under, making space for your bum, and cross the left foot over the right knee. Wiggle the feet out, knife edging both feet, and think of hugging or giving me a big toe lock around each big toe and almost hugging the soles of your feet in towards your hips as you softly nod your chin towards the lead knee. Then keeping your big toe lock, start lengthening through the spine as if there was a little piece of string, gently pulling your crown up to the ceiling. Stay here or play. Exhale to look over the left shoulder, keeping that bind on your toes. Inhale to come back. Exhale to peep over the right shoulder. Come back. Take the right hand, place it palm down between the 2 shoulder blades and reach overhand with your left hand for that elbow. Tuck it in towards the midline of the body, either staying here and working that little tricep stretch or floating the left hand underhand and see if you can bring the hands into a little bind behind your back. You could even use a belt, a strap, or a hand towel to make the connection between the 2 hands if your fingertips can't quite reach. Remember, just play with it. Stop anywhere along that process and play where you're comfortable. Then gently unbind. Maybe shake the legs out in front for a second. Get blood supply back into your knee. Then bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet. Reach with your right hand underneath your right leg for the left shin. Draw the left leg underneath you and cross the right foot over the left knee. Wriggle that bottom foot out, make space for your bum bones, knife edge both feet, giving me a big toe lock on each leg. Think nose to knee as you softly fold forward. And then gently think of lengthening through the spine, trying to keep that big toe lock. Take a big breath in, look over the right shoulder, come back to the center, look over the left shoulder, come back to the center. Stay or play. Take the left hand, put it palm down between the 2 shoulder blades. Keep your chin line soft and relaxed, and then reach overhand with the right hand to tuck that elbow in towards the center line. Stay or float the hand behind your back, reaching for a little bear grip. Pull the fingers up and down simultaneously. And then gently unbind and find your way into Siddhasana. I'll give you a side view and then a front view. Think of tucking to easy sit with one leg stacking in front of the other and reach for your block, sitting on the very knife edge portion of the block. Front view. As you sit your weight into the block, I'd like you to tuck the heels in as close to the perineum as you can and allow the weight of your knees to fall down onto the floor. Maybe keeping one foot crossed in front of the other or reaching the lead leg and trying to tuck the foot between the calf and the thigh of the other leg. Dropping the knees softly down to the floor, float your hands into Lotus Mudra by bringing the heels of your hands together with the pinkies and the thumbs connected like a little lotus bloom. Look down into your lotus bloom and visualize this mudra as the commitment you're making to yourself to keep your body positive and open. Positive mind, more resistant and more immune. With that thought, gently close your prayer hands and close off your prayer, your practice by tipping your fingertips to your nose and saying namaste. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Shoot me your comments in the comments box and remember to subscribe with your notification bell on. I shall see you all for Pilates conditioning on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.